We have very impressive storms that are occurring across the Midwest right now. But before we get to that, let's just look at this phenomenal heat advisory. I'm blowing this up on the screen right now. As you can see, there's an extreme heat warning in effect for Old Crow, Alaska. Temperatures are forecasted to go well into the 80s today. In fact, the Environmental Canada tells us there's even a heat index, which they call a humid index of temperatures going into the upper 80s. For Celsius, forecast high 28 degrees Celsius, heat index 31 degrees Celsius. This is very far up north, very far up north. Notice how the Arctic Ocean is really not that far from this spot. And the spot that we're dealing with again is I'm blowing it right up, right over there. But we also have something which is extra special for those of us that love the National Weather Service thorough forecast discussion, and that's for Fort Yukon. Now, you can't see it on this app over here, so we're going to have to go to a different app, and probably the windy.com. That one should be a good one. As you can see, well, you can't see it yet, but you will be able to see it soon. We have at Fort Yukon, you have the temperatures at about Thursday. This is 7 p.m. Chicago time, Central Daylight Time. We would go and say that it's probably 5 o'clock or so, the Alaskan time. You could look at that, 90 degrees. This is the North American Mesoscale model. 3 o'clock Alaska time, 7 o'clock Chicago time. I guess they're 4 hours behind. Or maybe, let's see over here. It doesn't even have the name of the place. As you can see, it says unorganized borrow. So we don't really have a name of the place, but this is occurring. It's a 3-hour difference, 6 o'clock. It's 23 Zulu time. This city, where they're hitting 90 degrees, which by the way is 32 degrees Celsius. If you go over here, you'll be able to see that it's 66 degrees north latitude, 66 and 33. That's right along the Arctic Circle. And whenever you have something this is in Canada, but when you get into Fort Yukon, then that's when you get access to the National Weather Service, and that's where you have so much information that we then have, as we're going to pull up on the screen right now. This is the Fort Yukon area. On the screen, you can see it says, the National Weather Service says partly sunny and hot with a high near 87 degrees. There are going to be some areas hitting 90 degrees in the region. As you could see on the screen right now, the forecast discussion is calling for, they had it right here, mid 80s. If you look in the center of the screen, you'll be able to see mid 80s to low 90s. I'm going to take a screenshot, and then with that, we'll be able to circle it, and you'll be able to see it much better. Mid 80s to low 90s. That's mid 80s to low 90s with warmest temperatures in the Yukon Flats in the Middle Tennant Valley. And temperatures cool a few degrees as more moisture rolls into the area in Alaska, which is interesting because that would spark our interest at looking at the actual dew points. The dew points, I know around here in the Midwest, we have the hot waters of the Gulf of Mexico, and boy, are they hot. And that contributes to an enormous amount of the humidity over here. But what contributes to humidity in Alaska? So let's take a look, and we're going to see if there indeed is humidity over there. We're going to take a look at the dew point, and there indeed is humidity. 61 degree dew point. It's not too much. It's more like kind of like a Phoenix, Arizona type of humidity, but officially probably about 60 degrees or so starts to get a little bit humid. And notice that this app is going super slow, probably because of a slow internet connection. But so let's just, actually the easiest way to find this out is to go over here, and then we go into the meteorological, we go into the meteorological one, and we're able to find, you see dew points in the 50s, and dew points in the 50s continue until you get to a dew point of about 60 when you get to Thursday night. But the dew points go into the low 60s or so, and that's the North American Mesoscale model ends 4 p.m. Friday, and then we go into the GFS model, which is not as accurate. Taking a look at the European computer model, it's at that point really where the European computer model becomes the most accurate model. And, the European computer model, you could see over here showing dew points actually going into the mid 60s Friday morning. Dew points in the mid 60s. Very interesting stuff. And where is that moisture coming from? Well, we're going to take a look right now. We're going to see that if we put on these, we'll have to put on the pressure isolons and that. And if we, where is the, okay, we're at Fort Yukon. So we go to Friday morning. We said Friday morning. 6 a.m. is when the dew points go into the mid-60s according to the European computer model. And it's a good question. Where's the moisture coming from? It's hard to see. At least here, it's a little bit hard to see. The winds seem to be pretty variable. But let's go ahead and make this. We go to the settings, and we're going to make this into intensive winds. And let's see what happens now. Nothing changed. Well, that's why did nothing change? I don't know. But let's go ahead and zero in on the thunderstorms that are occurring right now here in the Midwest, because we have a lot of storms that are occurring here. And as you can see, we really have storms taking really all over the place. Well, at least they were. We have a storm with strong rotation, which is headed towards, we have just such slow internet due to the storms that it's very hard to figure out where the storms are. And that's the story here. It's just not going. The app is just not going. Okay, we have a strong rotation storm that seems to be moving east-southeast at 21 miles per hour as of 12 minutes ago, and on the map it shows it's headed right into the Chicago area or right into the Evanston area. Whether it actually is or not, well, it really does. It shows it's going right around Evanston. Yeah, and it could be the other storms have died down by now. This one has hail that's going 37 miles per hour. Many of these locations, we have heat advisories in effect for many locations as you go south of the Chicago area. And we also have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 3 o'clock p.m. for places over there. And when you go into Phoenix, we continue with that excessive heat warning for Central Phoenix, an excessive heat warning for North Phoenix, and that's the story over there. If we go over to the National Weather Service and we look at the Phoenix area, we'll see slow internet. It's very hard to figure. We just have things on pause, but anyways, due to the storms currently in the area, we right now have slow internet. These are storms which are in the Chicago area, and therefore the forecast is just not downloading. But according to the European computer model, the forecast high is going into the mid 100 teens for Phoenix. I do not know what the National Weather Service is forecasting, but when you go to, for some reason that maybe it's just that app doesn't work. But when you go over here to where are we? I don't know if you could hear the thunder in the background, but there is a lot of it. Very, very loud thunder. We're waiting for the Phoenix, Arizona forecast. I wonder if there's any internet at all at this point. Okay, in any case, Looks like there are issues here. Okay, we are having issues. Okay, we're out of internet, so let's bring this to an end. Too bad, too bad. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for your interest, and hopefully we'll have some update later on.